there may be some people that don't like, I don't even know if it's the last video, depends on how I upload them, but the video where I talk about hunting and the sacrifice that's needed for us to survive, and how we are so removed from our food. Not that I'm a big YouTuber, but I know there's certain groups around Saginaw that try to discourage their acquaintances, their friends, and then other groups that they try to mandate that their adherents or their members don't eat meat at all. Actually, they will bully or ostracize people in their religious group that do eat meat. Or if it's their, like a sectarian group, there's also those that force their members to not eat meat, to be vegan. So, that being said, this video is because people, I have no problem with vegan. I mean, there's some months that I'm pescatarian. We won't have anything other than fish. Maybe egg whites, but I'm supposed to transition those out of my diet as well, down to a monk's diet. But I will still eat meat. The best meat being meat that I have prepared myself or taken, a part of that process. If it's just me downing it. Downing it twice, in the beginning and at the end. But, that being said, people get so just, I've seen it in the stores. They stock these stores full of employees that are against meat. That's why this movement to sell people meat that's been thawed once or twice, it's to discourage meat. And once they purchase the meat from the poultry farms or the beef farm or whatever, or the supplier, the slaughterhouse, they just write it off. It's a spoiled, or they give it to, they write it off and give it to, where I was told 2 different places, no 3, that they give it to homeless shelters. Now, I've been in one homeless shelter for several months because of a family disagreement about me returning to being Catholic. And, that was part of it. The other part was people tried to separate me from my kids, including making me lose my last child. And not even caring about the middle one, who nobody knows where she is. But anyway, that being said, I don't think we had a ton of meat being offered. I didn't see that, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, this video isn't about that. But yeah, I didn't see tons of donations of meat, and certainly didn't see meat that was really, really high quality all the time. It was rather intermittent. So I don't know what's going on with the claims I was told, but anyway, so people, they feel if something has a face, that's what one person told me. Oh, I can't eat anything with a face. That seems like people trying to, how can I put this? It's kind of anthropomorphic transference, trying to humanize something. And these aren't humans, If you walk and you kick the belly or you kick the shin of a bull or a heifer, they're going to nudge you back, or they're going to kick you, or they're going to stampede you. If you go up to a bull and you try to pet him like he's your spaniel, you might get gored. If you walk up to a buck, it doesn't matter if he's got a big, glorious rack. Oh my God, we got a 14-point buck here. Yeah, his rack is almost 2 handspans. Wow, he's just so beautiful and majestic. And He just looks so beautiful on that, that tree line or the on that hill, and it's just such a beautiful thing. It's just so beautiful. Yeah, walk up to him when he's in the rut, and then you won't see great beauty. He may gore you again. Or people, talk about a buffalo again. Go up to a buffalo in the wrong circumstances, they will gore you. These are animals to be respected and treated well, but then on the other hand, they're part of a food chain. And then in addition to that, they are wild. So, go up to a chicken and try to pet that chicken like he's your little kitten that you just got from the shelter. You get a very different reaction. If you don't get pecked, you're going to get soiled, but you'll probably get pecked and soiled. So again, this attitude where people, they approach everything just like it's a teddy bear, or it's like the new little baby in the family. These are not. These are wild animals, or they're pastoral animals. Again, may not be wild, but have similar instincts. They're not cute. They're not something to be put on the headboard of a bed or in a window. These are animals, and you could even take this further. When you go in and you see ears of corn or you see a field of soybeans, those are living things as well. They require energy from the universe: water, minerals, vitamins, sugars, sunlight, carbon dioxide, nitrogen. These things require things as well. They have some sort of, although it's not on our spectrum, a signature. How could I put it? What do they call that? Bioelectric signature. What about the tree that the paper that somebody wrote their complaint on for a protest? Again, that tree has a bioelectric signature. It has a carbon impact, a negative carbon impact compared to us. So all of these things, when you look at them biologically or even spiritually, they're the same. There's no difference from that little soybean that was, grabbed up in the combine or thresher, no, the combine, and spit out and then sent to a plant to make tofu for our latest, barbecue, Mongolian barbecue. There's different from that cube of soybeans than there is for. I've been talking lately, trying to tell my daughter about some places. The squirrel is the chicken of the forest. A squirrel, or or a chicken, or a lamb. These are all the same. So if you have that respect and that control, self-control, to only take what you need, and you promote and you nurture what is out there that you don't need, that way there's more in the future, and you respect what you kill and you use almost as much as you can. You'd be surprised how much we waste. People may not remember the prion based diseases of the 80s, like Creutzfeldt Yakov. These because we don't use so much of our beef industry and our dairy industry, so we recycle them and put them in the feed, and look what happened. Because we don't use enough. There's shops you can go online, and I was going to do this, but again, because people are targeting us, we never get ahead. Never get ahead. Doesn't matter, if I'm disabled and rated now, we still don't get ahead. Never. They never let us get ahead. Generally we're targeting us through everybody using the same. I don't want to say everybody. It's no vast conspiracy. It's just some places, somebody is recruiting them and saying, hey, use our call center. We'll give you good service, blah, 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 blah. We'll give you a good contract. Or me and my friends made our own company because we used to work at some place like Morley or something. We know all about the call center biz. And then they target people because they have these contracts. And, they pick businesses that a significant portion of the population of Michigan, especially Saginaw Bay and Genesee counties, use the call center. That way they can target people. But that being said, I mean, that's some people that's over their head. Anybody that's worked in force protection or intelligence or law enforcement, you may think this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a nut. Or it may make you wonder, you know what? Why is that when I call my cable, I call my doctor's office, and I call my insurance, I talk, sounds like the same people? Because it is. You may be talking to them even if the voice sounds different, because I have evidence that, used to, now it's just testimony, because my evidence has been destroyed so much and hacked. Evidence of people using simulators in call centers or illegally recording people's voices when they open accounts. I had this happen with a bank account that I didn't open, but apparently, somehow, the bank had a record of me saying my name, my social security number, and my birth date, and my address. I never made that recording. Somebody did. But they played it back to me, and I told them to delete it, and then the agent hung up on me. But, that being said, anyway, back to the topic at hand. These, all of these creatures to me are equal. And, I believe in respecting them, preserving them, having an environment where they're promoted to grow and to repopulate, and to increase their population, and to age well and be healthy, but yet, still understanding that I am part of the chain as well. I'm higher up on the food chain than many of those, but still, I should respect them. I mean, people, if we go back to the Torah has great wisdom to teach us about respecting animals. And, other religions teach us about kashrut or halal or Vedic proper butchering of animals. And, that involves a certain respect. And even Jesus, people forget Jesus studied Torah. You can't separate Jesus from Judaism. He was, for all intents and purposes, the closest equivalent we have today would be a Hasidic Jew. He's the closest thing. Or, I mean, they are the closest thing. His group is now extinct, but they all died out because they didn't marry. They sometimes were almost monastic. And, these are the people that developed the Qumran texts. They died out. But, also Jesus, spoke of, trying to remember, different situations where it's talked about respecting animals, where he talks about the birds. Let's see, I'm trying to remember the story about the donkey. Maybe that's, I can't remember if that's Hebrew Testament, Tanakh, or if that's Gospels. Anyway, then the fig tree or the olive tree, talking about those things which should bear fruit, and talking about those seeds which, should be properly nurtured. I mean, of course, he's talking there about the religious life, Christian spiritual life, but also he's using agricultural imagery. He's talking about the sowing of the seeds. So, again, I mean, I could probably take time and think and research and write down more, but not for the video. But there's other examples of positive, the way that we treat animals and the way that we treat our food in a positive manner from the Christian scriptures. So, I view it all the same. And I think that just by saying something has a face, or it can make a sound, or it can look cute, that really diminishes the idea of having respect for all life, and realizing that just because something looks cute in a picture or makes a cute cuddly sound on a video, still it's the same. It's a wild part of nature. And just because it's animal, because it's a mammal, because it's warm blooded and it has live babies, doesn't make it any different from the piece of wheat or the oat or the ear of corn that we've taken for our own sustenance. We should respect all life. So when people beat up hunters, or they beat up people who or beat down people who choose to eat meat, especially those who choose to carry a weapon. Oh God, no, never touch a weapon. That's the worst thing in human history. This is a thing that's driven human history for bad or for good, just like the car that some protester is going to drive to their next protesting site could be used for good or for evil. These are tools of civilization to go forward. So to beat somebody down because they look at the way that they will go forward and the way they will sustain their livelihood and their strength and their health is through acknowledging that sometimes not just sap or starchy water from a plant has to be shed, but blood has to be shed so that they can have meat to survive. It doesn't make them any different. So the person that just cuts down the bean and then eats the bean and the carrot and the spinach, they're all the same. So that being said, I do not think that it's appropriate to castigate anyone who hunts, or to emotionally beat down someone because they go to the store and buy meat. But everyone should certainly know where all their food comes from. Doesn't matter whether it's a piece of chicken or if it's a chunk of soybean. It's all the same. Respect should be given. Deference for the growth and population continuity and healthy environment should be given for all those creatures. But remember, there's great sacrifice for us to survive where we are in the food chain. So we should respect those underneath of us, yet also respect those who view that food chain and how big it is differently, because we're all part of the same chain. And certainly, if no one's hunting anything, we have a big problem, because we may not survive that.